Good afternoon. I'd like to get the meeting started. So basically where we left off yesterday was a motion to ask staff to go back and make recommendations. You'll have them in front of you. We'll start with the big sheet at the bottom. Whoops, there's my fuzzy gone. We'll start at the bottom where it says departmental review, and I'll just go through the first page and call off the first five from special projects to office supplies. Are there any questions on any of these? Then actually, I'll need a motion on the floor to just say we're looking at the above staff efficiencies that they brought forth. Councillor Chatton, Councillor Oslop, and I just want to commend here with staff with having the patience with us to bring this forward. Looking at it today, it looks great. I know there's some tough decisions that you put in front of us, and I'm glad to see those tough decisions because it'll make us all think today, right, Sean? So, Councillor Millette, you have your hand up.
Can someone explain doctor recruitment partial funding, 53,000 for me, please?
The treasurer will explain that.
Through the chair to Councillor Millette, we've identified some one-time expenditures that would be suitable to provide some reserve funding to offset against for that area. So we've identified that as a savings to use that funding.
So reserve funding will be used to fill in that 53,300?
That's correct.
Correct. Great. Thank you.
So you're talking about all the ones under category 7 tax relief measures, or, I'm sorry, oh, just the bottom?
Yeah, it starts at departmental review, and it's just those 5 items. And then we'll swing over to the next page and do a group of them also.
So doctor recruitment, we're lowering it?
No. It's just, I'll have the treasurer explain it here.
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson, thank you. We did identify some one-time nature expenditures within that program envelope. We've identified that it would be suitable to use some reserve funding to offset the expenditures, which total $53,300. So it's a utilization of reserve funding.
Oh, so we're utilizing some other money from another system, okay. All right.
Seeing we're done with that, we'll flip over the page and it start as finance on the top of the page. And we'll take it down to 8 numbers to reduction in rental fence. So the top 8 items, I'll just give you a second to look them over. Councillor Alsop? To the treasurer, sir, yes.
Through the chair to Councillor Alsop. No, that's just an identification and a review of the actual enrollment for, or utilization, I should say, for the actual facilities and an expectation of increased revenue for the area, so that no reserve funds are being used in that instance.
Great, thank you.
Councillor Thompson?
But road patching, what's happening with, we're taking money out of road patching?
Sorry, Councillor Thompson, we're not to that point right now. We're stopping at reduction in rental fence. So
sorry, Your Worship.
We're only doing the top 8.
All right.
You're trying to get ahead of us, that's good. Councillor Brown?
May become a pecuniary interest. 93 Dundas. Can I just ask what the reduction is?
Through the chair to Councillor Brown, that one is an identification that that's a property that will be changing hands and will have a reduction in costs associated with that, carrying costs, where we'll be closing up the property and disposing of it. So we'll be able to
And
reduce some operating costs.
Again, I'm gonna be very careful here, and I will identify, I'm Chair for Habitat for Humanity, and 93 Dundas is a pretty important piece of property for us. Do you mind if I ask the timeline?
Through the chair to Councillor Brown, the timeline for the reduction in expenditures is immediate, looking at closing up to make sure that we're not incurring any further carrying costs for that property.
Thank you.
Councillor Kelly?
Through you, Mayor, just a question for Mr. Ferguson. What school bus trips, what is that? I've never heard of that before.
Through the chair, Councillor Kelly, that's part of the recreation program, part of their programming. They've identified within their camps program that they don't utilize the bus trips as much as part of their camp programs. Director Husser may be able to provide some further insight on that item, but since they're not deploying as many long.
So it's like kids that are at the summer camp at the Quinte Sports and Wellness Center won't get a bus trip to the Frink Center for the day. Is that what you're saying?
I believe that.
All right, that's good, thanks.
Councillor Enright Miller?
Thanks, Chair. Through you to the Treasurer. Parks facility rental and donation looks like an in and out. Can you just give us an explanation on that one? The 45,000?
Yeah, absolutely. Through the chair to Councillor Enright Miller. That one is actually just an increase in revenue, so it looks like a reduction on the net column, so it reduces the impact on the budget, but it's actually an increase in revenue for both facility and donation that we're expecting out of the park section.
Okay, anybody else on those? Anybody else? Seeing none, we'll move to the next. So starting at reduction of EAB treatment to the end of the efficiencies, so just before the deferrals. The next 8, or next 7, sorry. Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, back to that one that I brought up earlier, Your Worship, road patching. Are we reducing road patching here?
Yeah, through the chair to Councillor Thompson, we allocate on an annual basis about $100,000 towards doing road patches rather than just filling the pothole. Unfortunately, we will reduce it by 25,000 and do some less patching. Yep.
I don't think I want the public to know that. I wouldn't be agree with taking that out, so I'll vote against that one.
Okay, we'll have to have a vote on that one then. Councillor Thompson, your motion is to defer. Is there a seconder on that? Okay, Councillor Chatton? Okay, go ahead, Councillor Chatton, sorry.
Thank you. Through you, Chair. Is there any possibility that we could utilize another funding pot to put that back in, the 25,000?
I'd go to the treasurer there, I guess you'd just say, because it's not one-time funding, you would, yeah, go.
Yeah.
I'm reading his mind. It's his birthday today. Happy birthday.
Oh,
and
happy
I'm just helping him
birthday,
out here,
Brandon.
so,
Happy
yeah.
birthday to Brandon.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, I guess that's.
Through the chair to Councillor Chat. That's correct. Yes. A broken record, I guess I'm becoming. But yeah, since it's not a one-time item, if we were to want to continue on with the program at 125, I wouldn't identify putting reserve funding towards it, because again, it will come out in the next year and cause a budget increase. So if we want to keep stable funding of $125,000, the best motion would be to delete that item.
Okay.
Thank you. So supplementary to that, could I maybe make a friendly amendment to reduce that to 15,000 instead of the 25? No? Okay. Yeah, I would.
Sorry, seeing none. We're at, keeping in right now. Counselor Kelly?
Through your mayor, Mr. Reed said it was $100,000 was allocated every year for the patchwork. Did you use the $100,000 every year?
Through the chair to Councillor Kelly, yes, we do.
All right. And what difference would 25,000 out of that budget? How many streets, how many patchwork, like, you're gonna say 25% less work would be done in the city? Is that fair?
Well, the budget there, that contracting section, allocates us to contract out larger patches. So it'd be like if there was a section of road, that required a larger patch. So we would just unfortunately, not be able to do another section within the city. You know, again, just be completely clear, like, you know, I would like to keep it where it is, but, you know, we were tasked with bringing opportunities for council to consider reductions within the budget, and this was an area where we felt that we wouldn't be impacting our minimum maintenance standards, because again, we would, you know, if there was potholes, we could just fill them with coal patch and meet the minimum requirements, right? So it is a level of service decrease compared to what we've done before, but we're just putting options in front of council to consider.
Just last question, Mayor. If the 25,000 is taken out, would this be a significant amount of work with your department within the city? Is this something that gets asked all the time to do, this patchwork?
I'd have to look at the amount of work orders we have within WorkTech, but we do obviously get a lot of calls about road conditions as a part of our work orders that we receive. So, I mean, yes, every little bit does help us maintain our infrastructure and our road network that we have, but it's council's decision, so.
Thank you.
Counselor Brown?
If I might just ask a clarifying question to Manager Reed. Patching versus just filling a pothole, is that what we're talking about? It means the potholes will still be fixed, but they won't be fixed in a traditional way with a patch?
That's correct, yeah, they're different. So this is contract works within our road maintenance program, so it identifies larger patches where we hire a contractor to come in and dig it out and repave.
Counselor Thompson, I guess?
I don't know whether my motion's still on the floor.
Yeah, it's on the floor.
It is, okay.
Yeah. Counselor Carr?
Thank you. I'm going to support the motion on the floor. Back in 2015, when we really started to focus on our comprehensive road maintenance, we made considerable gains in terms of road infrastructure and the importance of preserving what we have. So when we look at this patchwork, if we were to reduce it, then there's a greater chance for that infrastructure to fail sooner. And then we're into bigger dollars for a bigger repair. You know, ideally, it would probably be good to have more, but it's not lost on me that TOS has found a number that's worked and has worked for several years. And at the end of the day, majority of our residents travel on our road infrastructure every single day. That's their first point of contact with the municipality, quite frankly. And so we have to make sure that that infrastructure is up to par. So I support leaving it as is.
I just don't see any appetite to, if I'm looking at what's happening here, to take this out. So is that what I'm seeing around the table, or? So let's call the vote on it. All in favor of leaving it in, I guess? Taking it out. Well, yeah, you're taking it out of the cuts. Yeah. Okay, yes. So we'll leave it, we're taking, yeah, whatever, okay. Staff knows what I'm talking about. Carried. Okay. So if we're finished, we'll give you another second or a little bit of time here, and then we'll move to the deferrals. I think we're there now. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 deferrals. We'll look at them and just leave it here for a second. Councillor Alsop?
Thank you, Chair. The Quinte Arts Council deferral of $5,000. This is an organization that I think sorely needs the funding. If we look over to the percentage change, it's a 0.00% change. It is $5,000, but I would like to see that organization receive the funding, and I would like to see that taken out of the cuts.
Okay, so seconder on that motion, Councillor Kelly. Okay, discussion, Councillor Carr.
Thank you. Through you to Director Ferguson. So the $5,000 is an addition and a supplement request to the funding they're receiving now. Is that correct? And if so, what's their current funding?
Through the chair to Councillor Carr, that's correct. The $5,000 is a supplemental or additional funding request. They receive annual funding of $37,500, as well as some funding that gets received through the grant committee.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Councillor Chatton?
Thank you. And a question again back to Brandon, if you don't mind. How much did they receive in total from the grant committee?
Through the chair to Councillor Chatton, I would have to go and double check. I think the approval just is coming forward for arts and culture. About a 50% reduction, probably was about $2,500, and $5,000 for plein air. So I believe the amount was about $7,500.
Yes, so 7,500, just supplementary, 7,500 through the grant committee, in addition to the 37,000 that is being received annually. So I'm actually comfortable with the deferral because it does not mean that it's being cut entirely. It's not like they will not receive it next year. I'm in favor of continuing with the deferral.
Okay, anybody else? Councillor Kelly?
Through you, Mayor, just Mr. Ferguson, so Councillor Carr touched on it. They get $37,500 right now, like yearly allotment, and then they're asking for another $5,000. Did they say why they needed the $5,000?
I think in history they've been coming back and receiving $5,000 for the last 2 or 3 years, I believe, to bump that up, if I'm correct, or the last few years. And then their current thing is to bring it for $5,000 again next year to get it to is there a certain amount, if that's correct?
And then they get $7,500 from the grant committee. The arts community, we need to support them, but that's $44,500 I think they're getting then, right? Without the $5,000.
Yes.
All right. Yeah, no. Okay, thanks. That's all I want to know.
Anybody else on this? So I guess we have a motion to take it out, I guess if that's the right terms. Anybody in favor? I need to see your hands. Failed? Okay, thank you. Okay, seeing Councillor Enright Miller.
Thank you, through your chair. Brandon, could you just explain the asset management contribution to us?
Through the chair to Councillor Enright Miller, absolutely. So you'll recall we are looking for about $1 million in contribution to increase asset management funding. That's to mitigate our funding gap, allowing us to make capital replacements and renewals when they need to be done. We asked for a larger amount to accelerate and try and get narrow that funding gap sooner. So we did have a deferral earlier of about $350,000. This additional increase will reduce the total amount, so that we're doing about a 1% capital levy. It would definitely be appreciated to have that amount, but that brings it to about the minimum level that would be definitely comfortable with a reduction.
And just supplementary, can you work for the next year with the minimum level, if that goes?
Yeah. Through the chair, yeah, we will be able to continue the capital budgeting. Yeah.
Okay, anybody else? Let's just do the next two because they're service reductions and the rest are revenue increases. So anybody wants to speak to both of those? Councillor Thompson?
Saturday, Leaf and Yard. My question is, if we took a day out during the week, can we accomplish the same thing as taking Saturday out?
Question probably to Manager Reid.
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson, when it comes to staffing levels and how they're allocated, it's kind of spread out through. So really during regular business hours, it wouldn't have an impact on the budget. The costs associated with doing Saturday pickup these are additional hours that do not add to our full-time complement. So that's essentially it.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Carr?
Yeah, thank you. I would like to remove the stopping of the leaf and yard waste as a service reduction.
Okay, a seconder on that, Councillor Thompson. Discussion, Councillor Carr?
Yeah, just briefly. Right now, in terms of availability, we have one evening, one day. Saturday is a busy day. A lot of folks who work during the week. Saturday is the day of yard work. I can say personally that I've used the leaf and yard waste on a Saturday, and it is an extremely busy place.
Yeah.
And at certain times of the year, there is a very large queue actually forming out on Wallbridge Crescent. So that demonstrates that it's a good service that's being used. If it was a trickle use or hardly used, then I could see the justification, but this is a valuable service for our residents.
Anybody else on that? I think I see a lot of heads shaking your way, Councillor Carr. So the motion's on the floor to get it out of here, I guess, if that's the right terminology. Again, all in favor? Carried. Okay, some of these here will probably have more discussion than the others, so I'll just take the first two. I think number 2 is probably going to have a lot of discussion. I don't see any hands up at all, so moving forward. Oh, Councillor Thompson, your hand is up.
It's amazing. I go back to a number of years ago. I was the one that proposed from 250 to 3, and I've heard a lot from Quinte West with their increases in user fees, and I don't normally listen to Mr. Brooker, but one morning there was a topic on there about user fees in Quinte West. Their tax increases, and that's really what the amount. I would not be in favor this time of increasing them to 350. I just think that again, I'm going to say it now rather than later, there's only one taxpayer, and we do only tax them so deep. And we're going to be looking at sewer and water rates later on. I would make a motion, if I can get a seconder.
Yep, you can have the motion.
To remove the increase in waste bag tags fees.
Councillor Alsop is seconded. Discussion, Councillor Millette.
Thank you, Your Worship. As Chair of Green Task Force, we're under pressure already from various groups to introduce such measures as clear garbage bags, whereby you'll be judged not only by the collection person as to what you're throwing out at the curb, but your neighbors will see what you're putting out in the curb. So these are the challenges that we're being faced with, and there's some argument that the incentive is there to greater recycle and reuse and compost if the 50 cents is added on, and all the way up to $4, possibly $5 a tag.
Is that a motion for 5?
No, no, I'm in favor of leaving it at 3. It's a convoluted argument, I'll admit. I'll admit it's a convoluted argument. Stick with me here.
But we have to be home for supper.
Well, Chris's motion at 5 is on the floor.
Yeah,
Seconded.
no,
All in favor?
No. In all seriousness, there isn't an appetite to go any higher than 3 right now. We're finding people are, and we have the trash bash coming up in about a week and a half's time, and one needs to only look around the municipality. People are throwing garbage on the side roads. Mitchell Side Road, I saw social media today, somebody, and it happens. It's been proven incrementally, every 50 cents, every dollar you add onto bag tags is a breaking point for some household. And they'll load up the trunk of the car, middle of the night and you'll find it out on a city park. So I can't support an increase, and sorry, I'm never, ever going near a $5 bag.
Councillor Chapman?
Thank you, through you, Chair. Similarly, of the same mind, that it's going to cost us more in the long run with garbage cleanup and sending bylaw out to figure out who's thrown what where. I think, and I want to be clear, the task that we've asked of the staff to go away and come back with solutions to help bring this down, it is not lost on myself or anybody around this council table, if I could be so bold as to say that, how much work we asked of them to do in a very short turnaround of time. And while this does reflect a 0.19% impact on what we're trying to reduce, I can't support an increase in the bag tags. I would love to have better incentives to give people to put out less trash, so that maybe we can save that way. However, I just can't support that. Sorry.
Doesn't seem like there's a lot of support for it, so I just see your hands. Colin, okay, so it's I guess gone or whatever the terp. I haven't figured that out. By the end of the meeting, I'll figure that out. But that's why we have good staff sitting beside me. So we'll do the next four, down to public swimming. Councillor Kelly?
Thank you, through you, Mayor. We get an update for the ice rentals, rental costs for men, women's hockey league, and I want to know the cost per hour for minor hockey. Do they get a break? Who would?
Director, sorry.
Through you, your worship, to Councillor Kelly. First of all, these are not changes to the fee structure. So to give a little, and I can cover off all of this entire group here, just to provide a little background. So obviously
why don't, then I'll put them all on the floor, Dean, they're all yours. So let's just go from the ice rentals right down to the senior, and
Sure.
that takes care of them, and you can speak on them.
Thank you, your worship. So obviously the development of the operating budget started last fall when we started developing our projections for this fiscal year. And since then, as new information has come available through registration processes, obviously the COVID recovery, more in-depth discussions with clients and bookings, we have continuously revised those projections over all of these months. Staff have continuously gone through line by line, updating these numbers, and we certainly, like other departments, sat down with finance, going through line by line, trying to develop the best projections possible for revenue and also identify as many expenditure reductions as possible. So with Council's request last night to go back and take another look at our budgets, we had staff working last night and again this morning, running reports through the system. And I very much appreciate all of the work that the team, our management team and staff did to do that. And they took a very close look, particularly at the registration process, the spring registration that was completed just last week, and updated all of our projections. So these are new revisions to our estimated revenue for this year, which, as you can see, very positive response from the registration process, overwhelming in fact. Weren't able to even come close to meeting the demand for many of our programs. In addition to the registration, we've been struggling with filling vacancies, staff vacancies, especially in the aquatic side. We've been fortunate recently to be able to fill a couple positions, and because of that, we're able to fill additional program spaces, so that has helped on the aquatic side. And again, with seniors programming, the pandemic has hit those programs very hard, with a lot of our clients taking longer to come back and become engaged in programs. That has been increasing in the last few months. So again, this is from last night and this morning, just running reports and updating our projections as best we can. And we're quite confident that the numbers that are presented here are legitimate, realistic increases in overall revenue, which certainly helps with the bottom line. I hope that answers your question. I
Great
can certainly get
answers.
you more
Thank you.
detailed numbers on the rental rates after if you'd like that, but this isn't an increase in rental fees because we're doing the fee study that's out at RFP at this moment.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions on this? Nope, okay, perfect. Thank you, Director Hoswick, for that. Next we have, excuse me, the last one is tax ratios and reduction in commercial excess vacant. Anybody on this? Councillor Carr?
Thank you. Can we just get an explanation from the Director of Finance on this recommendation, please?
Absolutely. Through the chair to Councillor Carr. This is an item for our tax ratios. It's how we calculate the tax rates for the different property tax classes. In this respect, it is a removal of a reduction that is applied to commercial excess and vacant land, vacant properties, as well as the industrial class. So it's not direct impact on actual commercial or industrial. It's for those vacant type of properties. And what it is doing is removing the discount that's provided. It's either 30% or 35% differential in tax reduction from the commercial rate, and it will commercial and industrially, it will equalize those rates. So if it's commercial or commercial excess, they'll be paying the same tax rate.
Okay, thank you for that. I think it's important to note that previous term we brought in a reduction or elimination of the vacancy rebate in certain areas of the city, and essentially the message was that you know, build it, sell it, do something with it, but sitting on vacant property and then getting the incentive of not paying full taxes just allows the perpetuation of vacancy. And you know, and I understand, you know, in this world, particularly some commercial, particularly in the retail sector, trying to get occupancy is difficult as the economy changes. But nonetheless, it's not lost on me that we do have some properties that are in a perpetual state of vacancy, and we just can't keep cutting the brakes. And so this at least offsets that. If I could, that application then that's been calculated in and has impacted the tax rates as we see here on the other page.
Through the chair to Councillor Carr, that's absolutely correct. The percentage changes on the residential rates reflect that change.
Okay, thank you, and I support that. Thank you.
Councillor Rothschild?
Yes, thank you, Chair. I just wonder if I could get more clarification from Mr. Ferguson. What was the value of the change? I just don't see a line associated with it. Do we have a figure?
Absolutely.
Oh, go ahead.
Through the chair to Councillor Alsop. So from a budgetary perspective, and a very good point that I should have mentioned, there's no actual change or reduction in the actual tax levy. It's a shift across the classes. So those tax class properties will be paying more, which removes the burden from other classes. So there's no direct change in taxation or reduction to the amount of money raised. However, this group would be paying more, and it would, as mentioned, some of those reductions that were applied to those classes were in the range of 30 and 35%.
Councillor Thompson?
Just so under the old system, a property at, say, on Front Street, that was a commercial, was paying X number of dollars, but was subsidizing the vacant ones before, and now they're gonna get a reduction? Is that what am I reading that wrong? If I am, just say so.
Through the chair, Councillor Thompson, I think yes. What is happening is the commercial vacant or industrial vacant, we're paying less of a rate than the commercial business or the industrial business, and now they will be paying the same rate.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else on this? Leave it in, I guess, I see that. Okay, perfect. I just want to again thank staff for bringing this forward, and, you know, I'm going to give them a round of applause also, so. I know we did put you in a spot last night, and as I was going out of the building, everybody was in the room working hard and this morning, so on behalf of council, we really do appreciate that, and it's amazing that you did find something for us, so thank you. Okay, Councillor Thompson.
Yeah. So that's it for the reductions right now, so we will be switching to wastewater and that?
Yeah, I've just got Councillor Carr's hands up, I've got to pass the motion here.
Yeah, I just want to, if we need a motion before, then that's fine, but I was spoken to Mr. Ferguson earlier. I don't know what reduction we ended up here now.
Yeah, let's make the motion.
Because I got a follow-up
Yeah,
question to that.
so why don't we make the motion, give staff like a 5-minute break to figure this out and come back? Was that, everybody happy with that?
Yeah, and
So-
while he's doing that, if he went, my worship, if he can have the figure that I spoke to him earlier about, that I will ask him.
Yeah. Okay, so let's just take a 5 to 10-minute recess right now, and then we'll come back, okay? Perfect. Okay, we're back here on the, yeah. This is going out live on the air. Yeah, so. Okay, we'll turn the meeting over to the treasurer and he can go over the numbers for us.
Through the chair to council. As you can see, we have the changes in the residential tax rate up on the screen here. With the current reductions, including the tax ratio changes, we're looking at Belleville Urban at 3.65%. Noted in the other column was our starting point from last night, which I think Councillor Thompson was looking at. Is we've got specifically looking at just changes within the city departments. We've looked at a decrease of 1.31% on the Belleville Urban side. The Canifton Urban rate is at a 3.68% increase. That's reflective of a 1.24% tax decrease from yesterday. Canifton Rural 4.23%. Reflective of a 1.25% decrease, and rural at 4%, reflective of a 1.34% decrease.
Councillor Thompson?
Yeah, that's wonderful, and I want to congratulate staff, and I'm sure the committee that looks after that or helps you look after that. But with the reduction yesterday was at 1.31% in our budget alone. So we didn't even include the external budgets to get 1.31. So in our, and that 1.31 is for the whole budget. If we just took our budget, how much would that equate to? Like, would that be 2% of our budget we reduced it by, or 2.5%?
Sure, through the chair to Councillor Thompson, I think I'm understanding. If that was done on the whole for the reductions, yeah, it would be closer to a 2.1% increase. Meanwhile, because we were working with within 60% of the actual budget.
And that, I think, is important for the public to know that that 1.31 now equates to 2.21?
2.18.
2.18 in what we actually reduced in our budget without going into the externals. So I just want to compliment the staff. I don't think we did this before, and I think it's important that the public know that our staff worked very hard to get those figures, and we didn't do the external budgets at all, and to get that, that's commendable. So it brings our tax rates down within reason. So I just want to thank the staff for that and note it to the public.
Okay, Councillor Carr.
Yes, thank you. It's good to see those numbers move, but I'd like to bring a motion, introduce a motion that staff be directed to apply $650,000 from the tax stabilization fund to the 2023 operating budget. I'll speak to it.
Move second by Councillor Millat. Discussion? Councillor Carr?
Yeah, thank you. So this results approximately, and I think the director will provide us with the exact number, but approximately a 0.5% tax reduction.
Well, hold on. Is it? It's just calculating now.
Yeah,
Talk
but
slowly.
that's
The computer is.
All right, so
You've got ahead of
okay,
our
so I won't
tonight.
bring up the actual percentage, but what I will say is that the tax rate stabilization fund is exactly that, to help stabilize the tax rates. And given the fact that there's significant inflationary pressures and costs to the city, this is going to translate into increases for the taxpayer. And so all the more reason to utilize their money to help stabilize their bill. And while it's not always prudent to raid this fund for these purposes, we have said right from the very beginning, and staff have advised us, and even in the finance committee, well, it wasn't even a committee meeting, that we sat in on a EMT meeting, if you will, and were quickly advised that this budget was inflationary in nature, and it was drastic in terms of the cost increases, and something that we haven't seen in some time. And I know that we have heard that across the board. All municipalities are feeling the same thing, but we have this reserve fund for that purpose. And so this is the time to use it, probably more than any other time. I think we'll have opportunities in the future to replenish it. I'm still talking. I see the Director of Finance still shaking his head, so I'm not sure if I'm going to continue to talk. But in all seriousness, though, this is an opportunity to help lessen the burden as people open their tax bills and contribute to the city. And at the end of the day, when we look at what's been done here, I will say that, I want to thank staff. I'm sure I wasn't popular when I introduced that motion, and having staff stay late and put this together. I think we have a different way of approaching this in years ahead. I've already talked to the finance chair to look at opportunities that will bring to council for some different ways of doing this. So in fairness, it gives council an opportunity to not be under the time gun, if you will, to approve thing within a short budget meeting. But also in fairness, give staff the opportunity to get feedback from council to give them more direction along the way, so they're not burning the midnight oil trying to come up with these solutions. So other municipalities have a little different way of introducing budgets and budget process, and I think we have some opportunity for modernization. Thank you.
So, Councillor Carr, I'll get the treasurer to read what it is, but I think it was a half a point through all tax tables, or a little more through some others.
Through the chair. Yeah, there's some differentials across the tax tables, so I can give you the amounts if you're interested. So Belleville Urban would be down to the 3.15, which is the 0.5% difference. 3.17 on Canafton Urban. 3.66 on Canafton Rural, and 3.33 on Rural.
Okay, hand-wise, I did have a few up.
Could I just say one more thing now that we, because we were waiting on that number. So anywhere between 3.15% and 3.3%. I think it's important to know that the consumer price index for last year was at 6.1%. So we've done a tremendous job in terms of bringing that down below the inflation targets that have been experienced over the last year. So thank you.
Okay, so I had Councillor Millette, and then Councillor Chatton, then Councillor Thompson, and then Councillor Enright Miller.
Thank you, and Your Worship, I'm gonna support this, and thank you, Councillor Carr, for bringing that additional piece. Every incremental decimal point on that number helps, because as we said yesterday, and we've said repeatedly in these deliberations, the average person out there right now is pretty hard done by. The price of everything from a loaf of bread to the package of flat meat to make that bologna sandwich has gone up exponentially, and just the simple cost of living. Our residents can't bear much more, and I think we should go away from this with our heads held high, and staff can't get enough accolades for coming in with a number that really and truly in these inflationary times has really helped. So thank you on that.
Councillor Chatton?
Thank you, and through you, Your Worship. I just wanted to say that this particular, the Tax Stabilization Fund, this is within the scope of purpose for its utilization. And with the removal of that 0.19% impact that we could have seen with that change in the garbage tags, I think that this is an excellent time to implement something like this, especially when we know that we have upcoming potential to replace that fund in the upcoming year and following subsequent years. So I very, very much support this. I think it will not be lost on the citizens of both urban and rural areas that we have done our absolute best to bring it to something reasonable for them to be paying. And I very much also want to echo, I appreciate again the work that the staff has brought to the table. You guys are absolute rock stars. So thank you.
Councillor Thompson?
Chair.
Councillor Enright Miller, sorry.
Thank you, through you, Chair. I too just want to thank staff so much for what we saddled you with. You've come through for us and for the citizens of Belleville, and thank you. What a great staff we have. lots of good collaboration on this, and I would like to thank Councillor Carr for bringing the stabilization tax and packaging it in such a way that the constituents know that this is their money and it will pay their bill. And that is what it's been set up for, and this is the year, I think, when everything is so high, the price of everything is so high, I think this is a very palatable increase that we can live with, and I think we've all done the job, and we couldn't have done it without staff, so thank you.
Okay, Councillor Thompson?
Tax stabilization fund, treasurer, is there a number that you'd, like, if I read this tax stabilization fund, with that out, we're going to be down to $2,250,000. Is that normally what you would like to see, or are we stripping this down pretty good?
To the treasurer, go ahead.
Through the chair to Councillor Thompson, we'd prefer probably a higher balance in the tax rate stabilization reserve fund. Just going back to the assessment analysis report that was provided, that is one of our primary funding sources, and we do some funding through the budget for write-offs, where we ensure that there's money to put away to get into that fund to help to protect us from any assessment at risk. So any reduction in there, we are open to potential issues if we have some larger appeals. So you haven't seen too many of those on the horizon, but there were some amounts identified within that report that could provide some exposure that we need some use
Yeah,
for.
I just read that 2021 we had 10,826. 2022 we had 9,427, and we're transferring out $6,519,400, $6,519,400, and now we're going to add another 650. I know that I want to reduce taxes as much as anybody else, but I'm not going to support taking the 650 out of stabilization fund because I think it's too low. I think it's dropping it too low.
Councillor Kelly.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor, just want to thank Councillor Carr for bringing this up today. Just a couple of questions for you, Mr. Ferguson. The ask today is $650, and if my memory serves me correct, during the pandemic, Council of the Day used some of this money for tax relief too, or for programs. Is that right?
Through the chair to Councillor Kelly, that's correct. About $1 million was identified for COVID-related relief in one of the previous years.
And this leaves us 2.5 minus 650 left in the kitty then?
That's
okay. You okay with that? What's your professional opinion?
You just said to.
What do you think?
Through the chair to Councillor Kelly, conservative in nature, the preference would always to have some additional stabilization funding. We've seen some appeals of late, and some assessment at risk that could cause concern. But overall, the reserve for about $2 million should suffice for it. It's always nice to have more in there, and it's a one-time hit. So we'll look at maybe some increases in the future years.
Thank you.
Councillor Brown.
Thank you, Your Worship. My first time through a budget of this nature and this detail. So I'd like to extend, first of all, my thanks to the finance group, who, despite the size, made it very comprehensive and very clear in terms of how we were going to go. So my thanks to that. My thanks also to the staff who have worked hard, including an 11th hour request from council, but worked hard in terms of keeping our constituents first and foremost in terms of let's not impact our service levels, let's continue on with what we have done and do so in a way that is very, very economical. So my thanks. Overall, in terms of the budget process, I also want to extend my thanks to all my colleagues around the table, staff and councillors and the mayor alike. I think that this has been eye-opening for a lot of us in terms of really understanding the depth. I hope it's as equally eye-opening for the constituents who are in the audience and watching on YouTube to understand just how much detail your councillors go through in the decisions, the hard decisions that we have to make, but doing so always with our constituents in mind. And I think that's a really important message for people. We worked really hard at this, despite what some may feel, and I think that there's whole lots of reasons why we were where we were, and I believe where we wound up is even more beneficial. So I will support the tax stabilization. I understand from a finance perspective, it's never something we want to do about digging into reserves, but sometimes it's what we need to do, and I will support it this time because I do believe it's something that we need to do. Thank you.
Councillor Alsop?
Yes, thank you, Chair. Once again, I want to commend staff. I mean, this was quite a challenge that was set to them. We know that staff make every effort at the outset to get these budgets and these forecasts as tight as possible. So at the 11th hour to send you back and say, you know, try to do better is so appreciated. And I think to get to the point where we are now, you know, looking at 3.15 for Belleville Urban, when we look at some of our municipal comparators and some of the other budgets passed in this area, you can see just the shape that the city of Belleville is in, the work that was done by staff, and the commitment from your councillors to produce a budget that we felt both accomplished the needs of the city and also balanced the expectations of the taxpayers from a financial standpoint. So this is a great position that we've ended up in, and certainly very happy to have gotten to this point. And all credit to staff, finance committee, of course, Treasurer Ferguson, and thank you for putting up with us through this process. And even when we do things that maybe you wouldn't recommend, we appreciate that you let us go through it eyes wide open and always with a smile. So thank you very much.
Councillor Thompson?
Last comment on the tax stabilization. I don't think we've ever taken $6 million or $7 million out of a tax stabilization fund in 1 year, and I very much caution it. As much as I want the taxes low, it's very cautious to take that kind of money in one stabilization fund in 1 year. And I will vote against it.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor? Call the vote, carried. There was a motion on the floor with the changes, so I need to call the efficiency savings as amended. And that should do it. We have the motion on the floor. All in favor? Carried. Okay, A13, 2023 draft budget detailed tax supported. Resolution that the 2023 draft budget detailed tax supported be approved. Moved by Councillor Brown, Councillor Chatton, and we can move to section 4 in our books. And if there's any questions on section 4. All in favor? Carried. Okay, section 14, yeah, 8A14, section 5, 2023 draft-based budget adjustment, parking service, resolution of the draft 2023 parking service-based budget be approved. Councillor Chatton, Councillor Brown, discussion? All in favor? Carried. 8A15 parking issues issue sheet. Just accept it. Motion to approve. Councillor Alsop, Councillor Hinwright Miller. Discussion. All in favor? Carried. Section 5, 2023 draft budget details parking services, resolution that the 2023 draft detailed parking services be approved. Counselor Chatton, Counselor Brown, discussion, all in favor, carried. 8A17, 23 draft-based budget adjustments, water, resolution that the 2023 draft-based budget adjustments, water be approved. Counselor Chatton, Counselor Enright Miller, discussion, Counselor Thompson.
Just one statement, I know it's in there. I want to say, also talk about the development charges are included there. They're never free to the public, or the taxpayer always pays development charges one way or another, and there's only one taxpayer, so we gotta be careful here. So, okay?
Okay, on that, all in favor? Carried. 818, water issues, issue sheet. Moved by Counselor Chatton, Counselor Enright Miller, discussion. All in favor? Carried. 8A19, 23 draft budget detail water, resolution that the 23 draft budget detail water be approved. Counselor Enright Miller, Counselor Millette, all in favor, carried. 2023 draft-based budget adjustments, wastewater, 23 draft-based budget adjustments, wastewater resolution that the 2023 draft-based budget adjustments, wastewater be approved. Counselor Kelly, Counselor Chatton, discussion, all in favor, carried. Wastewater issues, issue sheet. Motion to move, Counselor Brown, Counselor Millette, all in favor, carried. We're rounding the corner here. 8A22, 23 draft budget details wastewater, 23 draft budget detail wastewater resolution that the 23 draft budget detail wastewater be approved. Moved by Counselor Millette, Counselor Enright Miller, discussion, all in favor, carried. Motion to rise and report, Counselor Alsop, Counselor Chatton, all in favor, carried. Any new business? Counselor Thompson.
I brought it up last year, and I'm not sure it was able to get implemented. I'd still like some explanation going out with our water bills, explaining why the hydrants for the fire and that are separate. A little more explanation, because doing door to door, I don't know whether anybody else got it, but I get it. Why the charge for fire hydrants when we paid the fire bill, and some little more explanation on the water bill. So I'd like us to see if we can get that started this year. Thank you, Your Worship.
Okay. Counselor Thompson, staff have acknowledged that, and maybe we can do something at time of billing with a notice or whatever and get back to you on that. That's fine? Okay, I need a confirmatory bylaw, that bylaw number 2023-48, a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held April 5th, 6th, 2023, be read a first, second, third time the 6th day of April 2023. Counselor Chatton, Counselor Enright Miller, all in favor, carried. Motion to adjourn, Counselor Millette, Counselor Brown, all in favor, carried. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, staff. We're done.